So we're talking about the teacher and the video camera.
Yeah. So I'll just, so the teacher who was working on her own practice watched herself, and her big realization was that there was a distraction when she was focusing more on the math content of a lesson, because it was she was unused to it, and she's learning, and she's doing a fabulous job of taking on this new math material. But she changed her practice in that she would practice the lesson the night before with her husband, who is not used to the new math, and was a very good critic of like asking her questions, and why is this and why is that and what do you mean, and all this sort of thing, and learning how to do some of the visualization of the math that we're encouraging now on open number lines and that sort of thing. So she would go through it, and then she would feel, she could see in the video that her confidence in the material was there, so she could focus on the students and their interaction with the material. So that was a huge piece of progress, and I would love to keep working with her on going deeper into this. And I don't know if I'll have time because I'll be moving and she'll probably be moving, but I'm very excited now, having started that and having had my first real experience mentoring one of my teachers as an administrator, using the techniques I've used with my colleagues as a mentor, because I've done that, of course, with Barn, and but I was on level with them in terms of, I wasn't their superior officer or anything. I wasn't their administrator. I was their colleague as a co-teacher investigating my own practice. So I don't want to lose that viewpoint of, like, a standpoint of being I guess, of being a researcher into my own practice while I'm doing this. And I think it's very important, crucial for me to model myself doing that at the same time. But I've now dipped my toe into working with a staff member through the teacher appraisal process and using this. So I feel better going into next year, knowing this is something I can try and facilitate. So.
Well, you talked briefly when we were talking on your way to Newmarket about starting a group with your fellow principals doing self-study, action research, living theory.
Yeah.
What does that look like for you?
Well, we have access as administrators to funding within our board for professional learning communities, and I've known there's pockets of them throughout the board, and I really would like to do that. I'm going to be going into building where I'm a single administrator, and at the moment, like, I've always worked with my colleagues within my own building and with my principal and now my vice principal, because I'm principal now, and we work together. But I would really like to do something more intentional, because in the last few years, 2 years as vice principal and now as principal, I feel like it hasn't been as intentional. I've been kind of in a sort of a metamorphosis stage, one of our teachers put up, or EAs actually put she does signs up in the bathrooms. And there's one that is beautiful. It's about, this pain you're feeling is just transformation. You're just becoming, and, enjoy the process and realize it is a process. It's a lovely quote with pictures and everything, drawings. And that's been very important to me over the last few years, of just be patient with yourself. You're transforming. And I've been watching and paying attention and seeing and trying some things. And I feel like I'm getting some thoughts as to the way I want to go forward, and I'm ready to participate in the PLC where I'm, being more intentional about the research I'm doing in my practice as an administrator. So, yeah.
So how are you going to get people to join?
Well, I do have some connections of people like the vice principal I'm working with now. I think she would be somebody who'd be very gung-ho about that, and some other administrators that you know, I'd rather start small and just, and these are meant to be small groups because like we're all so busy, right? Yeah, so there certainly are a few in my area that I think would be geographically close and willing, or we can Skype in with somebody else if there's. So I'm just going to put it out there and start talking. We have an August symposium where all the administrators get together. We also have one more meeting next week before the end of the school year. So I'll just start talking to a few people and say, hey, one, how do I get the time, because I have to talk to my SO, and then, yeah, just see.
Sounds very exciting.
Yeah.
Another barn.
Yeah. An A barn. Barna.
Yeah, or
barn for administrators.
or PLP, not PLP, PLC barn.
Yeah. Yeah, and the TLP funding's coming back.
Ah, nice.
They got the okay. I keep watching the sites to see if they have any, like they're going to have a year. Normally they plan for it the year before. So you apply in October of one year and they train you in the spring of that same school year. And then you start the research project the following school year. So they're going to have a year next year where they haven't done the planning. So I'm thinking they might do a shortened project and then start people up again for the next year. But I'm hoping that they'll have the same funding that Barn has accessed, which is the provincial knowledge exchange funding, where they fund the Barn members to share their learning more broadly.
So you could apply for that for your own school.
Yes, well, so the TLOP funding is definitely geared towards teachers applying, not administrators. Yeah. So I've got somebody ready to apply at the school I'm at now. She's keeping an eye out for it, and I'll send her the links because they've got a really strong kindergarten team that's they love working together and researching together. So they're going to definitely apply for something, and then at the new school, see if there's somebody else who wants to apply as well.
Great.
Yeah.
So I'm sure your gang will be getting moving soon. Are they already moving?
Nope. It's nice and quiet.
Oh, okay. Well, let me know. So what I thought I might do is I work on this paper every day now because I've got to get it done because it's a symposium.
Yep.
And the topic is common for everybody, but we each are writing. And Liz is one of the people in the symposium, and Judy McBride, and me, and Marie Huxtable, and Jack is the discussant. So he needs the papers ahead of time so he can, be prepared for the symposium. And then, and it doesn't have to be a final copy because it will change as a result of the symposium as well, which is always very exciting.
That's a great way of doing it.
Yeah.
Like you're getting your validation group going, and yeah.
So what I would like to do is I'd like to put it up on as a Google Doc and share it with you. And then if you see something in there that you can validate, you can simply put it right in.
Okay.
Yeah?
Yep, that sounds great.
All right.
Okay, and I'm going to right now. I'm going to keep looking for that bits that like I'm. If I can find the video and where it's embedded, I know that's the one that I want. So I will keep on the hunt for that, and I will look at. I still have a couple more places that I know I can look for the link. So I will find that and send the YouTube link to you as well as the link to the paper. In which it's embedded.
Well, I don't want you spending your whole day on Sunday when you need the time relax doing this. Okay? If you can find it, fine. If you can't, let's go to the next stage and simply recreate it. Because I think
Yeah.
it's not a bad process for either of us.
Yeah.
And I mean, and we probably have learned some things since we did that original work.
Yeah.
Which might make it more useful. I just thought if we could find it, it would kind of be a little shorter process.
Yeah. I would like to find it because I'd like to find where my other videos are. It's like, what the heck? Anyway.
It's so frustrating when you're looking, you know, I was looking for that by 1997 AERA paper, which was, I think, my first paper at AERA. Because I only started the PhD work in 96.
Yeah.
I think that was my first paper. And but Jack said, don't worry, I'm pretty sure I have it. So what we're doing here is not uncommon. People are always looking for stuff. And the trouble is, as soon as you change computers or somebody wipes your computer, which I've had done, I think I've saved everything. But in those public spaces like Google Docs, who knows?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I just thought while you were talking, it made me think, well, Jack has got a long list of publications, and that's probably a good place to look. I could probably just skim through his and go. So I'm going to start there because he's got those hyperlinks right on his site.
Well, and you can tell on that paper, that's one of the places that I got information about papers. That you see that the bottom of that list, there's age-old publications, and at the very end, they're boxes. Well, those boxes came right off his site.
Oh, right.
So I had to do that too.
That's good.
Thank God for that repository of his, eh?
Yeah. Yes.
It's great because everything's on there pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now he doesn't tend to put in on my individual papers, so that's sometimes, but mostly he does.
Yeah.
So is there a chance we could have another meeting?
Yeah. Yeah. So I need to read through your paper and put some ideas down. What's you tell me a time, like, I don't know, like you've got your time set out. What would be a good deadline for me to have done that and touch base with you so that you can make good progress?
Well, he's given us a deadline of the 21st. So I obviously have to give whatever I have to him by the 21st.
Yeah. Like, is next weekend too late?
No.
Okay, let's do that then. I don't know offhand what I'm doing next weekend. I don't think there's anything huge. But so I'm pretty flexible, but if you don't mind touching base closer to that, like midweek, then I'll have a better idea and we can set a time.
Well, this time seems to work for you.
Yeah.
And fine with me. So we could do
okay,
it.
let's say then the same time on next Saturday, and then if something comes up and I need to switch it, I'll contact you.
Okay.
Okay. Sounds good.
Thank you. Lovely talking with you.
You too.
Have a great week.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.